Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for hanging with me on this Wednesday. So if I could go back in time and change anything about the way that I jig fish, especially in these spring months, is it would be one trailer that I could use on all size jigs and every type of jig, and just go with that, because the more that you try to make fishing complex, the more it's going to confuse you when you get into the nitty gritty. You just got to scratch out one bite and you don't necessarily know what to change, how to adjust. And if you just have that one confidence trailer, like a big salty chunk, you swim it, you can flip it. It doesn't matter if you put it on a 3/8 or you go up to a 5/8 or a 3/4. This trailer is still going to work, and you'll know the rate of fall because you're that comfortable with this trailer. So I use basically 3 trailers anytime I'm jig fishing, and I fish a 1-ounce jig in the summertime as much as I fish a 3/8 ounce jig right now. So in the summertime, I flip this trailer a lot. I like this trailer because it has a lot of action. It can really slow down the fall of that heavy 1-ounce jig if I need to pitch it in a little bit shallower water. But this is a trailer that I also use when I'm swimming a jig in the springtime, but I never use this trailer when I am flipping in the springtime. Now, I'm going to try and change that, but this to me has always been a 1-ounce slipping jig because I've seen some of my favorite fishermen do it. The guy that told me about Alabama shaking a jig, this was the one that they told me to use. So that's why I've always used that. Now, if I could go back in time, like I said, you could use this anytime you're swimming or flipping. In a lot of those situations this time of year, where the last day or two before they start spawning, they're going to bite a swim jig. When they start spawning, they're going to bite maybe a jig. So a lot of the times you can do everything you need to do with just one trailer. Now, this is a great trailer, and this is another trailer that I use, and if you've seen any of my videos, I always talk about the Menace Grub or the Rage Menace, whatever you want to call it. But this is, in my opinion, not a great trailer when you get a jig that's less than a 1/2 ounce. So I will say the downside of these trailers with all of this appendage on there is they do get hung on the hook. It gets fouled up more than something like a Big Salty. If you know how to rig up a Big Salty correctly, there's a couple different things that you can do. You can take a piece of plastic and thread it up your hook, or if you use a jig like the Premier Pro model where it has that big rattle, that chunk never really goes up the shank of the hook. But there's a couple things you can do. You can also use shrink wrap. That's another one. But I just feel like when I'm in a time like I was Saturday, where I was just confused, I didn't really know what to do because my fish had changed. The fishing was really tough. There weren't a whole lot of fish doing one thing in the area that I was in. They weren't doing what they were doing 2 or 3 days prior to that. I just couldn't figure it out. And I thought to myself, dude, you've got way too much going on. This should be way simpler. You should have a big salty chunk. Half the time you should be swimming it back to the boat, and half the time you should be just fishing it slow on the bottom. And you wouldn't be confusing yourself. So I do unfortunately talk a lot about a swim jig with braid and the Alabama shake and all that. And that is important. But I still think if you're going to swim your jig with this big Siwash hook and you're going to put some type of kicking trailer on there, that can all be done with a big salty chunk. So if you guys are just starting out, or maybe you've lost some of your confidence in jig fishing, get you a pack of big salties. Learn how to swim it, learn how to flip it. And the only reason that I know that a big salty is a great swim jig trailer is because I've caught a ton of fish just reeling my flipping jig back to the boat. So if you guys want to get your confidence back, you want to become a better jig fisherman, one trailer. Learn how to catch them on that one trailer in all the situations. It's going to save you money, and it's going to make you a better fisherman at the end of the day. So try that, guys. Good luck to you, and I'll see you on the water.